Welcome. Today we have very special guests, Lubos and Martin from Tatra banka. For those who don't know, Tatra banka is one of the largest Slovak banks with over 1 million clients, and it's part of the Raiffeisen group, like an Austrian group, very known here in the region. You guys are probably very familiar with meeting with them and talking with them, but we as Vacuumlabs have been working with Tatra banka for the past few years, teaming up on various challenges you had internally. Some of them we can't talk about, some of them we can. My name is Marcel. I'm here representing Vacuumlabs, and we have Martin and Lubos, as I said. Could you two please introduce yourselves and your roles at Tatra banka so that the listeners and viewers can get a perspective of sort of where you sit in the bank? Martin?
Yeah, I can start. At the beginning, we will probably mention current roles, but it is important to mention that we went through more of them, both of us. So I'm currently responsible for IT, so I'm CIO in Tatra banka. And before I went through more of the positions and more of the directorates in business, risk, operations, and then also more positions in IT. So that's my current position.
So you've worn many hats.
Yes. My heart is with this institution, looking at my past historical positions.
Wonderful. And you, Lubos?
Well, I started as a tester, so I see errors and mistakes everywhere. But I changed from testing to software development, project management, PMO, and I'm coming back to core banking systems, and I'm report to Martin directly. With the bank being 18 years, I think. Yeah.
18 years in the bank.
Yes.
Okay, so your relationship as an adult with the bank.
Yes. In 1 month, 2 months maybe, yeah.
So you do not need to ask me today what to say. You are already adult.
You can speak for yourself. Wonderful. Well, those that know Tatra banka, the first word that usually comes to mind is innovation. That's always at the top of their minds. It's seen everywhere, both in branding, but also in people's perspective of how they see the bank. Martin, was that always the case? Was innovation a primary goal, or was it just something that the people were there who wanted to innovate and it just happened?
I'm happy that you are mentioning it actually, because we want to be known as an innovative leader. Tatra banka is having 34 years, and at the beginning it was probably like you mentioned, that group of people, I think we started at 40 or 50 in 1990, just like to move borders. But in a certain period of time, but still a long time ago from today, it was a cautious decision that we were thinking like we cannot be absolutely perfect in everything. And we were thinking which strategical way to follow. And focus on innovation was a strategic decision, which is being walked already for, I would say, more decades up until now. And we are very happy with that.
Yeah, I think this was after Euro conversion and after crisis in the banking. So we were kind of looking for the way to proceed, and I'm very happy that Tatra made this decision. I think this is something which was in our hearts in the
it was not a huge hiccup. It was somehow natural, but at that time we loudly mentioned it, shouted from the window as our brand promise. So no intention to hide it.
No intention to hide. Well, with innovation always comes experimentation, because if you're innovating, you're doing something new. You're not walking the path that has already been walked. You're doing something new. When starting a new project, you obviously have limited resources. You have to operate the bank while also trying to bring in these new things. So how do you sort of manage that when a new idea comes to mind, like let's say an internal idea, or somebody comes to you from the outside and says, oh, maybe Tatra banka could do this as well. When that happens, where do you start? How does that begin, that ideation process?
Probably when you are asking also, because when we are talking like innovation leader, like it has to be like super structured and then everything is organized, and we are having a weighting metrics, how we are taking the decision. I would say that Partially yes and partially no. Like, of course, we are having some formal processes how to collect the ideas. We are trying to involve all of the people in a bank. Everyone is having a chance to set up an idea and write it somewhere, being sure that someone will take care about the idea, will evaluate it and take the decision if to move it further or not. So there is also this process, but I would say that big part of the process is also gut feeling or something like that, like smelling the future, looking at the trends around, and not gut feeling of one person, but I think more of the persons and more of the people in a bank. And somehow when these two were combined together, looking back, we have been still able to pick up some of the topics and put the bets on the right ideas and points. Hopefully this will be also valid for the future. We are heavily working on it.
Do you remember? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, of course.
I think we also changed ourselves on the way. In the past, when we started to really focus on innovations, you recall it very good. You were the head of demand management that time. We were kind of, I see it as a centralized approach. So we collected the ideas and we put as a bank a dedicated number of ideas and amount of money which we wanted to invest into innovations. Now it is a little bit decentralized, I would say, because we went through the transformation of the company. So I think this is something which could just enhance what Martin mentioned.
Do you remember any sort of innovation that at first you weren't really sure that it would work, but it actually turned out really well?
I would say there were many, which might be super obvious these days, but first, which is on our list, and we usually mention it, is just internet banking. But it was in actually 1998 as the first digital channel in our region. But when so from current perspective, what's new on digital channel for the bank? Nothing currently. But at that time, only 3% of people were having actually direct access to the internet. So it was not 100% sure that how it would evolve over the years. So usually all of the big innovation are having something and it is not clear for everybody. Otherwise will be not innovation. So you always need to fight with something. It is okay, it is not okay. For example, voice biometric. This was also like we were having the vision that we would like to identify customers over the voice because it's super convenient. You do not need to have anything. But the technology was not ready when we started with the idea. So we put it into the shelf and just take it out of the shelf when the technology was already ready and all of the AI principles and were able to successfully identify the customer. So I would say it is somehow naturally connected with all of them.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes you're way ahead because, back in the late 90s, maybe there were simple modems that were available to people. But then there are things that are too soon to start on, and hence you decide to work on them a little later when the technology is there.
For example, one nice idea, a nice example, and this is also currently like, okay, nothing special, like paying with mobile phone. When in the time when there was no Apple Pay and Google Pay, it was not so easy. Like Apple was blocking the NFC, and we were actually dating with this topic for a very long time, and we were having specific application which was called mobile pay. In that time, super innovative, super difficult to bring to teach the people how to pay contactless with the mobile. Currently super specific and super normal because Apple Pay and Google Pay is well accustomed in here.
I have my memory coming to Michalid, actually our CEO. He was a head of retail that time, and we wanted to implement withdrawal of cash from ATM with mobile. It was maybe 2013. It's more than 10 years ago. And there were not so many ATMs with NFC module. There were not so many mobile phones with NFC. And he insisted that it has to be like NFC because you come there and you use your mobile and you have the money without a card. And we were having many iterations of the ideation, blah, blah, blah. But suddenly the team came with the idea that we will just use the number, the PIN, which we will retype to the ATM. And he was not satisfied until they brought him to the testing ATM and they made him use the mobile phone and use the ATM. And after this experience, he said, yes, this is it. I'm okay with it. Let's go. And it's been more than 10 years. So NFC is just now the trendy, but we have this withdrawal of cash for more than 10 years.
So it's almost like you have an idea and you're working so hard on achieving it that even if you don't do the original idea or original implementation, you find a way to do it. And I've seen this as a customer. I've seen this. It's very interesting because you come in, and I think I just want to share this because this was very specific. When we were working in other projects in other regions, it was always surprising to me when they said, "Oh, we have this new, really cool, innovative idea," whatever it was. I was like, "Yeah, but we've had that with Tatra banka 10 years ago. We had that with Tatra banka 5 years ago. And this is, this is the UK, this is Germany, this is Singapore, Hong Kong." And it's so kudos to you guys on this.
Yeah, that's Lubos touched one topic and you touch it. Sometimes you are thinking the known direction, you are having the vision. And there is also one example, I will mention it, that we wanted to have a instant card for the customer. So when a customer is going to the branch, he will be immediately or she provided with the card.
Yeah.
And first thing we were
working card immediately.
We were really thinking, okay, so we have to have these big machines which are producing the cards, and this was like super expensive, and obviously we were not having such a big budget. So, but we still had the vision. And then we overcome, okay, let's have the card without the name, which are printed before, and then we just connect the name with the number of the card, and the cards are fitting in a drawer, and suddenly not such a huge investment was needed. So usually the way which is known at the beginning is actually sometimes not the right one in the end. But yeah, those are just funny examples. But thank you very much that you are doing some promo for Tatra in Asia or somewhere else.
But really, I have to acknowledge, going on some conferences in the world, you see guys saying what the banks are doing, and you're like, come on. It's like 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's the whole idea of innovation is about not really knowing how it's going to end in the end. Like you're trying, you have a feeling, like you say, you have a gut feeling. It's almost like if you go to the board or if you go to the CEO and say, I want to do this. It's like, not really, I'm not sure how to do it, but I believe it's true. And then somehow you push it through and you've built the brand on it.
Yeah, you're right.
Good. Well, with innovation or with so much innovation happening, you've probably built a lot of systems, and hence the core that you had in the beginning has now been modified and restructured to support all these new features in any way you could find, without revealing too much or saying anything that's secret. How are you sort of thinking, Lubos, of the future of the core banking core and the core banking technology within Tatra banka? How are you thinking it's going to change in the next few years, and what are you looking at for innovation?
This is a good question, which we have, and we face this question. For long years, we tried to migrate from one core system to another core system. I mean, really long years. I can say even it's more than 10 years. We tried to do that. And we always wanted to move from one to another existing. So we only have two core systems, just so the listeners can understand our situation. But these times, we see that on the market there is plenty of new kits, let's say, enhancing the newest capabilities of technology. And we realized that maybe we should skip kind of level of development of core systems, and we are looking currently on the, let's call it, new generation of core banking systems. And this is of my even personal interest. I really would like to do that. It's very, very, very good idea, but this is a huge step. As you said, during the years, we enhanced our core system, and now I would say from our previous core system, we use 15% of its functionality, and we've built another 200% around. So it's a mess, and it's a huge technological debt which we have to now deal with.
If I may add, I would like to highlight like two topics which are just coming somehow to our mind. Like when you are asking about core banking system, it was also evolving, and doing the way what Lubos presented was actually requiring that evolution. So at the beginning, like 30 years ago, there were only systems in a bank, core banking systems, and the screen were used by all of the employees within the bank. Over the years, then the big front-end system for the branch, for the customers, digital channels started to come, and actually core banking system became to be a backend, really a backend, which is doing the calculation of interest, fees, maturities, etc., etc., etc. So at the moment, actually, directly, just very few people in a bank are entering data manually into the core banking system. So the position a bit changed. So now it is more handled by another systems than the people. That's point one. And second point, even if this is true, core banking system are huge. What Lubos said, like it is like million line of codes. If I would roughly guess on our side with this internal evolution, and also that it is like 30 million line of codes. A huge functionality. Correct?
So yeah, I said ChatGPT will
Yeah.
rewrite it.
Not so good so far. So and looking outside of the window, like the technological speed up or exponential trend is so dramatic that actually when you are having functionality written in such a million line of codes, it is very difficult also for the providers to keep the pace with the technological trend. Like, some new technologies, containerization, OpenShift, how to split that big monolith into small containers, that's super difficult. So usually they are not the most modern now. They are full of functionality and we appreciate them a lot. But when you are taking decision now, you are looking also for the new stuff, and you would like to have also something what is having the newest technology. And therefore this new kids on the block have to play the role as well. Hopefully the standard players will somehow manage and will keep the pace because it's important for us also. But it's difficult when you are having such a big functionality in it.
But it's interesting how Martin described, and I also shared the way of innovation. You end up somewhere else, or you find a different way than you thought initially. So we might end up in a completely different setup than we are thinking about now. But we are looking for the something which would improve our status quo in the backends, in the core banking systems.
When looking at these, whether it's 10x, Thought Machine, others that are in the market, is there anything specific that you sort of are already looking for, or is it trying to find what it is that you're looking for because you don't know yet? B. So it's more. So you don't have a list of things like, oh, I need check. It's actually is there something you found or something that surprised you that is now possible that wasn't possible 18 years ago when you were testing?
Well, it seems that we can make things much more simpler than we did it in the past. And I think this is something which would help us in the future to simplify the things we are doing, the way we do it, the product portfolio we are doing, and all the features. I think that today we can use different capabilities to combine them in a simpler way to provide the same or even better experience for our customers.
So, and I would like to, what is going to my mind, like two topics to mention, like the modern less care about the front end, if even they invest into building a front end, because they are starting in the point where it is not needed, as I described this evolution, just for very few people. Why? Yeah. Point one. And second point, they're looking at it more from the perspective of platform and less for building functionalities to be able to accrue the interest in each and every part of the world, because in each and every part of the world it is calculated differently. So if you would like to build it in, that's then that we are having 75% or 85%, you said, built around because we had to do it. Then provided functionalities by the system. And these two trends, I think, that the new are taking into consideration because they are just starting. They are having it easier. They do not need to recode 20 million lines. So, but it's nice. We like this approach, I have to say.
Yeah. It almost sounds to me, as you're talking about it, it's almost like a Trojan horse that enters the bank and invades by simplifying everything because suddenly you have the option to do it. Is that a good analogy, or did I just invade your bank?
I would say it could be a good analogy. Yes. It can be dangerous. It can be dangerous because it seems like very nice, very easy to get. It's not easy, we know, but this can make wrong expectations, definitely.
But from this perspective, we know that even if we can be inspired, miracles don't happen in a complex world, so the obstacles will come for sure. But they will be different somewhere else than they used to be in the past. So we are aware about this. So we are counting with this also.
So speaking of obstacles, you are going to hit obstacles, but you will overcome them. When doing that, would you prefer to do this in-house, or do you actually reach out to companies outside of your bank, or obviously companies outside of your bank, external partners that you work with to figure this out? So do you prefer the internal route, the outside route, or is it never perfect? How do you look at this?
I will answer generally, and then you can enlarge my answer in connection to the core banking system in general. And this is also not secret. We are using as a big bank, we are using all type of partnerships. So we are working internally and programming internally, taking care about application. We are working with, I want to call it body shop. So still responsibility on our side, but we are enlarging the capacities by taking people from IT companies, but still responsibility for us. And we are also outsourcing the responsibility. So we are having some service level management contracts and external companies are taking care about some of the applications. This is absolutely normal, I would say. If you are asking me if there some logic, yes, we are trying to have them logic. Like if something we consider as competitive advantage, we would like to hold it internally, if possible. Because we are not building our own office on our own, wouldn't make sense. But even in this view, we are able to do compromises because usually when you are having also an idea, we were talking about innovations and you would like to have it quickly, but you don't have the team because the team is busy with something else. So you can even outsource it. But after a certain time when it's built and you are able to build the internal team or to ramp up the internal team, you can take over. So this is a bit standard pattern that we've been following in more cases, I would say.
Yeah. My personal view is that I prefer working with people rather than working with companies. So, and it's over whole my career, everybody can confirm that I prefer to choose a people or person from the company and work with the person, include the person in our team, have the connection, and I could say wearing a t-shirt of Tatra. This is something which I prefer than for the people cooperating with us than wearing a t-shirt of the company. So this is something which I look for, and I think this makes then everything much more smoother, easier. So you don't argue about contract because you argue about the problem to solve, but not the contract conditions or I didn't deliver something to you, so you cannot now proceed as a company. So I prefer the way of combination, and I prefer personally the way of picking up the people from many companies and building the teams which do together the job. But this is my personal perception, and I try to do it this way. There are some jobs which are not able to be done in this way. So yeah, so I would say A in as an answer.
So I mean, it's fairly common for companies to even if they hire from external companies, like you said, body shopping, or even if they have an external supplier, to want them to feel like they are wearing that shirt. I think that's a perfect analogy because you're always working with people. It doesn't matter whether there's one type of contract or another type of contract.
Maybe here we can add that even if we are using all of the types, as you said, but considering what Lubos said, we are also not doing drastic changes in the models. So we are like Lubos is 18 years, I probably 1 year longer with Tatra. So also the companies who are working with us will like to have the environment which is set, and we understand each other. Also the brand promise, also the culture which is shown now.
Yep.
So we are having a few partners which have been with us for also many years already.
Good. Well, I'm sure the viewers and the listeners would be really angry with me if I didn't ask about two trends that everybody's talking about. One of them is crypto and blockchain, and the second one is AI. What do you think about sort of where crypto is and blockchain is today? A few years ago, it was this rebellious pirate entering the financial services space. Nobody really knew what to do with it. Where does that sit today in your minds? Maybe not necessarily at Tatra banka, but in your view in the financial services space.
Of course, all of these trends we are scouting. Not only those, but you haven't mentioned like quantum computing or ecosystemization and stuff.
So is there a plan to buy a quantum computer here?
Of course, if we can, then tomorrow. Maybe crypto I would change to something what we call digital assets or blockchain, because even if cryptocurrency is something like currency that you can pay or hold the money in, that's something easily connected with the bank, but there are many use cases also when we like to go broader actually for digital assets, for something which is big. You cannot buy it, like art, for example, artistic piece, and you can own only a piece of it. So from this perspective, we are thinking and also thinking how to tackle with that topic, and blockchain from some different perspective, like from a technology as such. So we are working with it. Sure, AI. Yeah, all of the companies are working with it. Sure, we are investing huge energy into it, not only from a technological perspective, but also from the philosophical perspective. So we try to somehow enhance knowledge of the company as such. And on a technology side, we are a bank, so yeah, generative AI can answer very nicely. But we have to be sure what is being answered, and this is the tricky part. So we are having also chatbots which are more on predictive large language models, and now we are thinking how to put it together, which is the task not only us are doing, but also many others. But this is the tricky part. So, but yeah, hopefully we will be good and faster than the others. So this is our wish in this area.
Maybe I can add some numbers, let's say. I would say roughly half of our developers use Copilot, GitHub Copilot. The others either have technologies which do not support or don't want to use. Yeah, so this is the AI in real in practice from the development perspective.
Have you sort of tracked in any way in how that has impacted your productivity?
Not yet. I don't have enough courage.
To be honest, we are trying to avoid asking that question. We are having demo sessions with the programmers. It is happening, I think, every second week, every third week, when some program is coming also to our office, and because I'm curious about their experiences. And actually, majority was having positive attitude. Only one was not seeing the use cases in his particular job, but it was having the reasons. But I'm having one wish. I would combine it with something different. You were asking about innovations or trends. I see also one other trend, but it is like on opposite side of the coin, like technological complexity in a big universal bank or telco company or whatsoever. It's actually huge because the evolution is going exponential curve, and like just to give you a understanding, we are having, I don't know, 300 plus applications, 3,000 plus integrations, millions login by customers. So 100 plus technologies, and new are coming. And to keep this in a healthy stuff or healthy status, becoming more and more difficult to do all the patching and so on. Like it is really like you are adding 1 0 each year. And I have a naive wish that if I'm having an old application in old technology, I would be able to rewrite it to the new technology a simpler way than it used to be in the past, and that AI can help us. Therefore, I'm
Please no. We are not there yet.
so curious to hear also about the experiences of the developers with Gen AI helping them to write the code actually.
Yeah. I see many colleagues telling me, Lubos, why don't you rewrite your old core banking with artificial intelligence? It's very difficult to answer.
Yeah, and we're gonna be seeing new models, and we're gonna be testing
New
them.
behavior of the banking then. And no, I don't want. I don't think we are ready for that.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Very good. Maybe one sort of final question to sort of conclude this conversation today. The reason I got into technology was sci-fi, books, games. Is there something in your past that really brought you to where you are today, that is a book, a movie, a game, something you can recommend to the viewers and the listeners that really influenced you either in a fun way or in a complicated way? And I recognize that I didn't give you this question before because I wanted it to be raw. So is there something that really comes to mind, a movie, game, something you've seen that keeps driving you at work or in life?
I think you asked two questions. One was that what brought us to IT or to technology.
Yes.
And second one was what drives us. And
Yes, I did ask two questions.
yeah. So I would like to split.
So you have two. Okay, good.
So
I've got two.
one final was 4 actually. It's 4.
So and I'm happy that you said the games or something like that, because in that area, like what brought me to IT, I'm having a different and probably boring answer. So in the time where the core banking system were the only systems in the bank, I was trying to somehow simplify the work. I was even not. This was what drives me, and I was trying to write something what can simplify the work of myself, and then others notice it, and this was suddenly I become to be an IT to simplify the job of myself or of the others. So I'm not coming from games. I was not playing games when I was young, but when I'm meeting many. We are having like a breakfast with the newcomers to the IT. So usually when we combine like 10, we are having the breakfast, and I'm asking this question. And you are right that actually majority of them are having this gaming experiences in the young age.
I can only tell that how I got the first job in banking industry was I was playing Counter-Strike at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's one part of the group of at the time.
And it was like 14th hour that day. And I was like, maybe I should start doing something which is which makes more sense. So maybe I should find some job. And then I started to work in banking industry. And since then I stopped playing Counter-Strike.
Looks like we need to do a Tatra banka Vacuumlabs league in Counter-Strike. Let's see who wins. Very good.
I need to train, really.
Yeah, let's train. I think we're gonna find a couple of those people here and in Tatra.
I will take my son.
Okay, we bring the kids as well. It's gonna be a family event. Fantastic. Any final thoughts? Anything that you'd really want to either share about what's coming that isn't secret, or anything you want to tell a general sort of audience of people who are interested in fintech and where the world is going?
I will start, Martin, okay? Because he didn't ask anything about Vacuumlabs. I don't know why. The whole time I thought it will be there somewhere, and I think I would end up. Why we are sitting here is because we cooperate with Vacuum. I personally with some of your guys for last maybe 9 months, and I have to say I like to work with people, as I said, and all of them are perfect, and they totally fit our culture, and they really brought us a value of the innovation, looking at the perspective of the new core banking system behavior, and I really appreciate the cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lubos. It's very nice of you.
So at the moment we are working together. I will add to that not asked question that
Is it okay to say
that? At the moment we are working together on this new kid on the block, CBS. And I have to say that I was surprised positively. It is not valid for the other parts of the world, that actually there is a company who is experienced with such a new system just sitting in the next street. So we are lucky from this perspective. So that's super happy. But when we were asking about the innovations, but we were working on more of the topics, and usually it was somehow, and actually now as well, it was touched when we were testing something new. So usually it was touching the design or the business model or legal analysis or writing a prototype or something like this. So yeah, you might be good in that to start and to help to start new ideas. So we were very happy with the experiences so far. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, thanks to both of you. It's been really fun, especially when you came with ideas that we might have seen, but you wanted your own spin on it. So, again, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming today. This was really fun. I got to learn about your 18-year experience and about your changing hats through your experience at Tatra banka. Thank you very much, and I will see you soon.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you for having us.
Wish you a nice day.